fundraising costs as if we can do that with national challenge gifting, and they even have to go outside the area. But these are concepts and ideas that we want to bring to the table that we've talked about on the Vision 590 for a while. Also, we want to bring the churches to the table. That's one of our first points under Section 1, is to bring the churches and the community to the table to help identify needs and also partner with the agency, and the agency partner with them. We want this agency to be in the church and in the community and be highly visible. There's other things that I will talk about as time goes by, but I'm out of time for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Yvonne, and I'm the Democratic candidate for the township supervisor position. And I believe that I would be best suited for this job because I know the hardship that people go through just to accomplish the little things in life. And I know that I would be able to work with the partners that we already have within the city township office on making sure that they're doing right by our clients and that our clients are getting the best service that they possibly can get. And I know that the clients that we serve, they are kind of intimidated on going into that office. And so I want to make that office a user-friendly office. Some of the things that are on the website, they could be changed. If you already know whether or not you're qualified to go into the office, then you'll go there. But if it's not on the website telling you what the qualifications are, you don't know. So I believe that we need to update that. And I do believe that I can do this, and I know the people that are using this office. I work with people all day long, every day, and I believe customer service will be the key to this office and making it successful.
Good. Here's another night from this day.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. I'm Clyde, and many of you that don't know me, I've been around this community for many years. On information that will be on the back table, I talk about the things that I've done in the volunteer area. And when we were talking in some of our other meetings, I noticed that I've been talking a lot about what I've been doing in the community as a volunteer. But at the same time, I've had employment, and I never talk about what I do for a living. I've been self-employed for many, many years. Most recently, I started working for OSF St. Francis and in a mobile medical department. And at the same time, before that, and during that time, I had a business called Consolidated Business Services, which is a consulting firm that I started some years ago when I was working with the Illinois Department of Transportation as we were placing people in apprentice jobs. So I have been known around the community for helping people find employment. People still call me for jobs. They still call me for council duties. At the same time, I go back and I work for the Springfield Urban League. I'm kind of going back in time. And in the Springfield Urban League, I was providing supporting services around the community. More importantly, I was on the city council for 12 years, and I was a trustee for this department for 12 years. I have more experience, more knowledge about the budgets and how to get things done as it relates to this department than anyone at the table. So, as you hear everybody say what they can do, just remember I can do what they say they can do and much more. I'm Clyde Gellin. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for letting me be here tonight to speak to you, and thanks to all of you for being here to hear us. My name is Sam Joseph, and I also am running for the Peoria Township Supervisor. I'm a lifelong Peorian, and I've always voted as a Democrat. As a matter of fact, until high school, my father and grandfather had a grocery store right down here on MacArthur Highway. In the old days, this office was called the Overseer of the Poor. And in the 1930s, when this office established, my great uncle was in that position as Overseer of the Poor. I own my own business, Sam Joseph Specialties. It's a promotional products business. And I'm running for this office because it parallels what I engage in daily. I'm experienced in assisting the poor with their serious problems and challenges. Last week in the mayor's city address, it was stated that the #1 problem and issue in Peoria is poverty. I'm here to continue to help the poor and to help give a lending hand to those who need it. As township supervisor, I will continue to work to solve problems and provide services to those people in need. Most of all, I intend to become more innovative in seeking out new sources of funding and utilizing some that are overlooked and overlapped. I will be an elected official accountable to the people of Peoria, not a political insider. People want to focus on the basics. For starters, most people don't even know where this office is and what it does. Well, I'm familiar with that and hope to make it more familiar and let everybody know what it's about. I intend to solidify my job description for this office from past experiences. There's a lot of duplication of sources, and I'll tell you more later.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening. First, I want to extend gratitude and thank you for the invitation to Reverend Hightower and the NAACP. My name is Daniel Sullivan. I am the Republican candidate for Township Supervisor. I'm running for this position because I want to be able to assist the people of Peoria Township. I have almost 20 years of governmental experience. I worked 14 years for the Peoria County Sheriff's Department, where I dealt with people on many occasions that had difficult situations, especially financial crisis. For the last 3 years, I worked for the city of Peoria, worked closely with the Township Supervisor's office. I worked for the city clerk / town clerk, so I work closely with the township trustees. I've also spent 8 years on a local school board, last serving as president, so I'm very confident in knowing budgets, especially governmental budgets. I'm here asking for your support today because I feel that we need to make the clients that comes into the Peoria Township the #1 priority for that office. It's a situation where people don't realize the assistance that we offer, and we need to make sure that we get what we do out, but we also be able to assist other people by, if we can't help them, collaborate with other agencies to help. In my running these past several months, I've actually approached several agencies that have no dealings with the township to see what we can do to collaborate together to help one another. So I'm asking for your support, and thank you.
Thanks to all of you. Just so everyone knows how we're doing this evening, if you have questions, please raise your hand and someone will come back with cards with your questions on them. I will then read the questions to the candidates and they'll respond. And just for those looking forward to the mayoral discussion, that will start within the next hour. Now then, the first question for the candidates. And each one of you will answer this. Please explain your understanding of the job and the primary job responsibilities. Starting with Mr. Sullivan.
Thank you. The main job of the Peoria Township Supervisor is to provide assistance to those that are in need in Peoria Township. We have 2 types of assistance. You have emergency assistance, which would be AMRIN payments, prescriptions, eyeglasses, things like that, where you have to qualify in order to get the assistance. And then you also have a general assistance where you get a monthly stipend from the township to help with your living expenses, basically. And I think that the top priority, besides having those 2 functions, is we need to make sure that we work with the community in regards to providing the services, but also making sure that we reach out, possibly extend services, and those that do come in, make sure that all their needs are met at the point where we don't just, oh, we can't help you, goodbye. Let's see what we can do about extending possible job skills, education skills, things like that to help them for future.
And just so each of you know, in your responses, you'll have 2 minutes max time. That's all. Next.
Could you read that?
Please explain your understanding of the job duties and priorities of this position.
Understanding of the job, well, Dan just explained it all, so we have the same understanding for the job. My priorities, I do want to let you know, will be transparency and making the office more user-friendly so that when you come in and if you need something, you're not shoot away and say you need to get an appointment and come back, that you will be taken care of while you're there, or at least the matter be addressed while you're there the first time, so that it's not wasting your time. Also, reaching out and using other agencies and making the office aware to other agencies that also do the same kind of charity work, such as St. Vincent de Paul Societies, Southside Mission Neighborhood House, and others like that. There's a lot that needs to be done in there. As far as the caseworkers, there's 2 caseworkers to handle everyone in the city. So we need to maybe address that also once we're in that office.
Thank you. I see this position as a position of leadership. And as a great leader, you'll be able to allow your ideas, your creativity to be displayed throughout the office. I think all of the staff that works there should have your same heart for the job. It should be contagious. And as a leader at the township office, I bring to the table some things that I saw missing. Examples would be, in the past, I worked for the Workforce Investment Act, Private Industry Council, doing the WIA and the TANF movement. And during that time, we co-located in the IDES office. And while we were located there, we had to be able to put in place processes that would make it more user-friendly, to make it where the clients could come in and get service quickly. And I had experience in firsthand being able to develop those things. So as a leader and under this position, being able to be in the leadership position, I will be able to bring my past experience from being a leader and having creative ideas to be able to develop programs that will help the office to run smoothly. Thank you.
They did explain the duties of the office, but as far as priorities, my first priority would be within the office, and that would start with the employees. Because if you're the leader of that office, you want that office to reflect you. And then with me, I want it to reflect who I am, and I'm all about the people. And so my first concern would be making sure that the employees of that office understand the clients that they're serving. It wouldn't be no perception when you walk into that door. You want to be able to come into there and have a friendly sense of an office. As far as phone calls go, every phone call will be answered. There will be no voicemail left unreturned, even if that means I have to answer them myself. Everybody will be able to be seen in a timely fashion and will not be put on hold. And so that's what I look for, and that's what I look forward to doing and changing in that office is the customer service that the clients are receiving. I want everyone to make sure that they feel that they are part of this city like I do.
I believe that the understanding of the office so far is the monetary assistance features and all of that has been thoroughly explained. But one aspect of this office, I believe, is a barometer of the needs that's in the city. We can often see that when the Community Action Agency does a energy assistance. You can see the lines of people, so you know there's need in the city. You can see other services when they're open to the public, how the public responds. You can very well see the needs that are there. I believe that this office has served the people to a degree, but I believe that we can ratchet that up to another level because we're going to have to ratchet it up in order to meet the needs that tool. I believe that every individual coming to this office should be handled with a sense of dignity, respect, and compassion. I believe that every need must be met and addressed with enthusiasm, and so therefore a part of my plan also is to revise the office philosophy, to train staff in above-the-line behavior, to get rid of BCD behavior, that's the blaming, complaining, and defending your own inaction. We want to take this to another level because the citizens are the most important part of this city, and we have to stretch ourselves to be a safety net in addition with others, to be a safety net to every citizen within this city. So this is what we want to do, is to make this office a barometer of need. We want to be able to report back to our trustees as to what's going on in the city as well, and to carry that message back so that we can institute maybe new programs or concepts or ideas to help the citizens that are in need. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, like everyone said, we do understand the parameters with the general assistance, the emergency assistance. There is another part of this department that they oversee the pension funds, the retirement, and the financial end of the whole township, the assessor's office as well. So that is something I feel you do need to keep an eye on that as well. But, as far as the office goes, it just needs leadership. I mean, I ran a business for 30 years, and if you don't handle your employees, you're going to have a mess on your hands. And I kind of believe that's just, just from my experience down there. They're good staff, they just need direction and guidance, and I'm very good at that, and I think that's one of the things I'll bring to the table. Also, but there's had additional funds in the emergency relief because of the way the Affordable Care Act is today. There's a lot of prescription drugs that aren't being handed out, a lot of vouchers for eyewear. There's a lot of different things that aren't being utilized in that office. So the funds have been shifted back into the general assistance. I think you can bring it into help with the rental assistance and help with the water bills. That's a big, two of the biggest questions that is answered at that office. And they say they can't do that, but they can do it. I've talked to other township supervisors that offer those programs. It just requires a little work on the supervisor's job. And I think those are two big things I think I can enact relatively quick. And the burials, they've done away with the burials right now, and they need to bring that back. Because they say the burials don't affect that person. That person is deceased, so those funds cannot help that person. There's a family involved there, and that family is, that's a big struggle on someone. You need to bring back the burial funds, I believe, and that is something. The three things I would look at would be rental assistance, water, and bringing the burial funds back. Thank you.
Thank you all. Next question, so they will not need long-term services from the office.
Thank you very much for asking. Under my Vision 590 program or plan that is listed at the website, electburnett.com, part of that is to connect, or part of what we want to do as a priority is to connect this agency to other like agencies within the city. We also want to go into new territory where we are actually working with the business community, working with the black business community, in helping develop apprenticeships, various types of job training, basically meeting or matching people with need both ways. Sometimes the corporation may need a certain thing, sometimes the people need a certain thing, and so what we want to do is increase our ability to identify needs and ratchet that thing up, like I said earlier, to be able to connect people in the time of their need. So we want to certainly provide the services and all the services that we can offer to each individual at that particular time, but we want to hold on to them and maintain them and actually help develop something that maybe they didn't have, when they walked into that office. We want to create a sense of hope among them as well. One of the things that God gave us was creative ability. We can create some things that do not currently exist, and I believe that that is within our power, and we've all talked about sound leadership. I believe it's going to take sound and visionary leadership to lead us into the trials and the battles that this office faces from this point forward. Thank you.
Can you repeat it again? I'm sorry.
The question again for everyone. What strategies do you propose to transition clients so they will not need long-term services from the service?
Well, I guess what I would propose, I think the ones that actually, the clients that use this for long term are mostly those that have no source of income, and those that are waiting for like Social Security or SSI. So for those that are waiting for Social Security and SSI, I believe that if you started with them, walk with them through the whole entire process, make some of those phone calls for them, that with the Social Security office and connect to the right people, I believe that we can get that done a lot faster than what they can do by themselves. So I think that they would not have to utilize that entire year. And for those that don't have a job and that are capable of working, because not everyone is capable of working, but we would have to try to give them the skills that they need and set them up with the agencies that we already partner. And with those in place, I believe that they will be able to get off of the payroll. But we've got to give them the skills. We just can't, everybody can get a job, but it's a matter of keeping a job. So we've got to be able to equip them with the tools that they need to keep that job once they get it. Not only to keep the job, but to manage the funds that they have. And so I believe the partners that we already have, we can utilize them, make sure that they're doing right by our clients, and that our clients are doing everything in their power that they can do. And so I believe that that would, in turn, take people off of the payroll, as so to speak, in a shorter length of time.
I think the strategy that I would implement is one that would mirror something I did in the past. There was a program called Work First. It was an Illinois program that was part of putting people to work. And through that Work First program, what it would take is a shifting of some funds from the general fund to be able to create a program, what I call opportunity program. And that opportunity program will work with employers to be able to create funding, and to create funding so people could actually do work and earn money. Now, that's something that's not going to happen day one, but I already have employers that are willing to participate to help us grow our opportunity and grow the use of the funds. If you leverage the money that we have, then actually we can serve more people. Because what's going to be incumbent upon the new leadership is to be able to come up with ways to serve more people with less. Because right now the money is staying the same generally, but the need is increasing. Secondly, what I would do is that I would look at programs that would allow us, 30 seconds. I would look at a program, and really what I'm trying to explain this in 30 seconds or less, but I'm going to say it real fast. I would put a database together that would help us to be able to look at the people that are actually receiving the funds, because a lot of times people receive the funds and they're return users of the fund. We have no way to look back and see who's using it. So the way to make sure that we don't have people just continuing to come through this system is develop a better database to be able to monitor the funds and be more accountable to the people.
Thank you, sir.
Strategies, I'm going to name 3 things right off. Self-reliance, education, and budget. Everyone is talking about the self-reliance, getting jobs, helping people keep jobs. If you want to work, you can work. It's no matter what the unemployment rate. If you need a job, you'll find a job. Education, to help further education, whether or not a client needs to get a GED or do coursework at Illinois Central College or work for a degree program at Illinois Central College to get better educated. And also budget for the client to get, once they receive the monies that they need, whether through this agency, through this office or another agency, how to budget themselves so that they're not overspending or spending it in the wrong direction on the wrong things just to get them, set up on a budget.
like I said in my opening statement, collaboration and cooperation with different agencies is the key in order to help those individuals to get education and job skills. And like I said, that's my number one priority is the clients that we serve. And I mentioned that helping them obtain job skills and education skills so they don't have to rely on general assistance, that should be our main goal. We want to be able to help those to help themselves. In my campaigning, I've spoken with agencies and churches that have mentoring programs to help mentor those individuals that are struggling and doesn't really have a good concept of budgeting their own money and having issues with jobs. And this is all in the private sector, and it's been a success because it's to the point where you have mentors teaching all people in regards to how to handle their money, how to go out and do interviews. And I think that's one thing the township could definitely work with these other groups to make sure that we all in the city of Peoria that work with the common goal to help those individuals.
Finally,
Okay. Really, my whole basis is on jobs. I think finding people jobs is the number one thing. And in this office, not everyone is capable of working. Like Don said, 50% of the people in the general assistance are probably disabled. They're waiting to get on SSI. But if you find candidates willing to work, let's get them jobs. That's kind of in my wheelhouse. I've ran a business 30 years. I've had people work, when they've exceeded, when they've gotten to a level, I went and tried them and got them better jobs than working in my restaurant. And I think that's a key here. I've reached out already just in conversation with the local trades. They're willing to give you an internship. You take a candidate, a client from this setting, get them a job. You get the right person, get them a living wage job too. It's one thing to, sure, you get a job, you can wash dishes, or fast food. That's not a lifestyle. That is not a living wage job. We need to get these people trained. Get anybody willing to work, try and get them into a good job, a living wage job with the trades. Sure, if you want to work in a restaurant, let's teach you how to become a sous chef or someone where you can make a living. And typically, just train them to get a good job. I'm all about trying to help get jobs and a better way of life. Thank you.
there are some seats up front here for those standing. Next question. What have each of you done personally to address our elected officials, primarily Congressman LaHood's, understanding of the negative impact of repeal of the Affordable Care Act will have on Peoria Township? What have you done personally to address our elected officials' understanding of how repeal of the Affordable Care Act will affect Peoria Township? You still, so go ahead.
Oh, my name's Tony.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Sure.
I'm sorry.
Speak.
Actually, I called our congressman, and because when I had my restaurant at the time, that's a very big thing for a restaurant employer who has a lot of people. They don't make a lot of money. I was seeing a lot of my staff members who are on the Affordable Care Act. They're sweating right now. How am I going to pay? What's going to happen? Am I going to not be insured? How am I going to make it the next month? So I called and stated my facts that we have to have, you cannot just do away with this without having a plan intact. So I've made calls to a few of our local representatives, but that's about all I've done.
I'm kind of in an unfair position because I am an insurance agent and I'm very familiar with the Affordable Care Act and the change that took place after the Affordable Care Act was in place, and what health insurance was before and both after and what it's projected to be. Unfortunately, most health insurance companies are crying broke right now. Most have left the exchanges, and most of the cost structures, at least so they say, now they decrease my commission, but they say that their cost structures are so high that they can't sustain this particular program. But one thing that we've seen since ACA has been in effect is that people who were uninsured before are now insured. And that is good, that people have a plan. However, there are many things that need to be changed or modified. So I'm an advocate for modification, not repeal, but modification of the ACA. Because the way it's currently structured is going to be a problem at some point that people will have to address, whether it's the companies or whether it's individuals. I'm an advocate for reform at the hospital charge and service level. I believe that that's where the focus should be on the cost and delivery of services, because we all know that paying $50 for a Band-Aid is just not a good thing. So I believe that reform should take place there, and we've got to honestly look at ourselves and look at what we're doing as a nation and what we expect people to have so far as the quality of life, and be willing to move forward in that respect. Now, the question, to be fair, what have I done outside of screaming at the computer and continually call companies to say, hey, how come this enrollment hasn't taken place? What's going on? I haven't called anybody else outside my companies to complain. But we can do that too if we need to.
Thank you.
What I've done is, I've always been an advocate for the affordable health care. When they decided to go ahead and Obama placed that in play, it went very well for people in my office, because some had kids that were under the age of 26, but over the age of 18. So it allowed them to keep them on their health care. And so what I've done just recently is a group of women, we went to General Hood's office, and we talked to him and gave him our concerns about repealing without replacing. And also, I've been on a daily basis emailing senators, anybody that will listen, on asking them not to repeal without replacing. So I think that is a very, very good plan that we have to have. I like Harvey Barnett said, it can be modified because it affects some people where they would rather pay the penalty than get on the insurance. And then that has happened in my family, where I have family members that my grandchildren, their parents chose to take the penalty than take insurance. So I think that it can be modified.
Thank you. I didn't call anyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have not called any elected official either, but the Affordable Care Act is very, very important. Especially since the end of the year 2016, when, like Harvey Burnett said, the insurance companies have quit or canceled personal insurance. I will be able to say because of that, I am now on the Obamacare Affordable Care Act. Does it need modifications? Yes, it does. Can it be modified? It will take a lot of phone calls and acts of Congress and the Senate.
I'll be honest with you, I also have not contacted anyone, but I do have to say that it is a concern for the Township Supervisor's Office, because since the budget, you have the state, local, and down to the Township office, we're all under a budget constraint, and it is a concern in regards to the services that we provide. That's just going to need more people that's going to be needing prescription services and other services that the Township provides. So I'm thankful for that question, because that actually opened my eyes. I wasn't thinking how really the impact that could be on the citizens of Peoria Township. So I do thank you for that question. I will definitely make that a part, and I will make a point to contact people, because it is an issue. Thank you.
Next question. On improved levels of service for the 27% budget cut. Yes, sir.
Oh, me?
Yes, ma'am.
How would I do what?
If elected, how will you maintain the same or improved level of service with a 27% budget cut?
Well, if elected, I don't want to keep the same because the office as it stands right now isn't benefiting the people that it serves. So, and with a 27% cut, that's a cut in the amount of money that the person is receiving. So again, I believe that's where we're going to have to use the partners that we already have to get them to understand what our clients are going through and how they need to be able to keep that resource that they have, along with sorry, just lost my train of thought. How they'll be able to keep the funds that they're receiving and to use them efficiently, and so that they'll go a little bit longer than what it is right now. But going from $325 to $255 a month, you know, I don't know how anybody can survive on that unless you're living with someone else, you know. So I don't see that amount of money as a person is just using that only source. I believe that there has to be something else to help supplement that. And so again, using the partners that we have and trying to get them to make sure they're doing right by our clients. And us doing right by the partners too.
I kept wondering about this 20% change. I guess that was the information that I've been sending out to the community about what's going on with the general assistance. In the general assistance line, as she was talking about, the current recipients receive $325 per month. The change in the budget there's no change in the budget. There's just a change in the amount that the recipients will receive, and that went to $255. That change just took place February 1, and it was something that was just, I think the people that are receiving the funds, some of them may not even know that yet, because this is just hot off the press. So that's one strategy, is that we can just reduce the amount that individuals would receive by basically changing the grant amounts. But then the other thing that we have to do is we have to increase the revenues of the department. That's the other option. At the city, we have a lot of challenges with budgets, and I've been through this time and time again. You know, you always have more than one option. There's two sides to the coin. One is just to reduce the services, but the other is to increase the revenues. So I think at the same time, when you're managing this thing, the immediate response was just to lower the general assistance. But the long-term strategy would is to create ways to increase the revenues. And that's just another option for the department, and that's the strategy I would use.
Thank you, sir.
I guess you need to work with the means you have. It's tough to say, but if it's taken away, then something's got to give. But the other way to help out is there are many agencies besides this township office that are overlapping, and if they can work together with the township office, we can maybe help some more clients that are in need of help and more dollars that they would need to get by.
Thank you.
Well, the reason that the general assistance fund has dropped from 325 to 255 is because of the massive need on the emergency side, and that's what was, at least my understanding from a letter that was distributed to the individuals that are gaining the general assistance, is that's why they had to do the shift. And I think that we should look at other avenues in order to make sure that it balances out, that our needs for the emergency assistance is met, but we also don't take it out on the citizens that are receiving the general assistance. But I also want to make sure that we don't piggyback and affect taxpayers are already getting hit with the recent tax increases with the city, the state, possibly, in their economic situation, the county in their economic situation. We can't look for a tax increase in order to help. We need to look at new, innovative measures to get funding to help the citizens, whether that would be going out to private sectors, grants, working in other ways with the budget to try to find proper funding to make sure that both sides are equally measured out.
Well, after looking into this a little bit, one of the things I would do, like I said, there is some, with the reduced prescription drugs and eyewear and that, maybe you would shift the emergency funds in a different way and have to really look deep into that. But one of the main things I would look at is there's a big carryover in this office. Every year there's a surplus that they carry over, and it's a pretty substantial amount. It's almost $700,000. So maybe you have to dip into that and figure out why is there certain that you have to use it. You save it for a rainy day. I think it's pouring cats and dogs. So this might be a good time for that.
Thank you.
Councilman Kelly talked about cutting expenditures and increasing income as if they were mutually exclusive ideas. I believe that these things can be done at the same time. I'm the only candidate, and I was listening, but I'm the only candidate that has gone on record. You can see it at the website, electburnett.com, and also in writing, that says that from day one, I will cut the salary of the township supervisor's office. Reading the Journal Star, I was quite surprised that the salary for the supervisor leadership is $96,000 a year. I don't know whether benefits are included in that or not, but that needs to be cut from day one. So from day one, I'm the only candidate, as you have heard tonight, that is committed and said that I will work for much less money than that and do a also part of my plan under Part 5 deals with realigning the office. First, I look at the pay scales. I also look to increase the number of staff that we have on hand. Now you think, oh, that's going to increase. No, it's not. Not if we do what we need to do on the other side of that and get out and leverage Caterpillar to let them know that you owe us something here, and you should be a part of helping us, whether you do it under the cover or not. But you should be able to help contribute, whether it's a matching grant program or not. I don't care what it is, but I leverage that opportunity right now, and I believe right now is the opportunity for us to do those type of things. So it's going to take some boldness. I don't mind getting up in anybody's face, and I believe that the next leader, certainly we're going to be compassionate. But we also have to stand up for the citizens, because each and every individual is important, every family is important, and we've got to do the best that we can do to make it successful. Thank you.
Thank you. Some of you expressed experience in budgeting, finance. Those of you who have not stated you had experience, without that experience, why do you see yourself as qualified in this position? Anyone who's not stated they've had finance and budgetary experience?
I didn't express that I had budgeting experience and all that, because I don't have it with governmental office. But with like everybody here in this office, we all live on a budget, whether it's a small budget or a big budget. And it's no different than budgeting for your home. I've been in an office where I've had 4 bosses within the last 28 years. And every last one of them that came into our office had no clue of what our office did, nor how our budget ran. That didn't stop them from getting the job, and it didn't stop them from staying there until they decided they wanted to leave. And so I do believe that you can go into a place and you can learn what it is that you need to do. As far as budgeting, like I said, we all live on a budget, and we all know how to maintain funds.
Thank you. Any others? Next question. How much experience do each of you have working with individuals in need? Start with Mr. Gunning from this legal name. Please.
And I want to add something to that other question about the budget. We were talking about the general fund and spending that money. When you're dealing with municipal money, the general fund, though that money is there, it's really not there because you need to keep that money there for if the state doesn't have a budget, doesn't send you money. You have to have that money there. So though it's there, you can't really just spend it. Number one. Two, what's this question again?
The question is, how much experience do you have working with individuals in need, either as a professional or volunteer?
I think I have probably more experience than anybody at this table. I was trying to go back in my life about what I've done employee-wise. I had the opportunity at two things that I did. I'll point out. Number one, with the Private Industry Council and the Workforce Investment Act, we were working with temporary, with the TANF program. And when that first hit, Workforce, I ran the Workforce and Illinois Works program. And I had 200 clients on my caseload. So the fact that we have 200 individuals that receive funding out of the general assistance is something that I'm used to doing. I had to keep notes, and we worked with the Illinois Department of Employment Securities and submit 2151s, which is a daily report for the person, and develop service strategies for individuals. So as a career counselor, I was able to not only help them through the situation and move them to the first job, but also help meet the support and services needs with the bus passes and the rides. And as a matter of fact, I want to say this quick too. I didn't see the sign. I developed a program using those funds, Work First program. They had the #1 program in the nation. All right.
Come this way first. Yeah, then go back.
Experience at what level, whether it's helping a person on the street that says, can you loan me some money to buy something to eat? Instead of loaning them the money, I take them to the restaurant to get them the food. To the organizations I belong to and what I strive to lead in those outreaches, for instance, my church, the IQ Society, the Knights of Columbus, we help Sophia's Kitchen, Neighborhood House, Southside Mission, Women's Care Center. There's so many to name a few, just on a monthly, weekly, daily basis. So involved with the people and the citizens of the Peoria area that are in need of help on a daily basis, I help.
Like I said earlier, I spent almost 14 years with the Sheriff's Department, so on a daily basis we dealt with people that was in need. And I had to deal with them in the best way I could without going against my job to try to provide them with the assistance, even if it's just encouraging them and saying good luck and take them to the next spot. And I spent 8 years on the school board where our school district was over 60% of the poverty level, so we dealt with many parents that had issues, couldn't even afford shoes or clothes for their children, and I'm proud to say that my wife and I was there to, if a teacher came up and said that child doesn't have shoes, we were able to help them out. Also from church, I go to a very large church where we have a lot of different needs that we try to meet. I also, along with the Kiwanis Club, where just recently we went and delivered meals over 180 homebound citizens. I didn't quite deliver 180, but I did a fair share, and it really opened my eyes to see how many people really can't get out to get a decent meal. So I do try to make my part to help out those in need.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Well, through my work, we were fortunate enough, my wife and I, the last few years where we sold that restaurant, we were in a good situation to be able to hire, and we felt it was our duty to mentor some kids. And we've hired all kinds of kids through Hetty Elliott and CareerLink. We've hired some challenged individuals, and believe me, we aren't just paying a minimum wage. I would pay these kids what they were worth, and when they proved to me they were worth something, they were making decent money. as much as we could afford to pay them, they were making. And we had failures, don't get me wrong, but we've had some tremendous success stories. I was fortunate enough to mentor some young kids, one in particular. He was living in Lexington Hills. His mom kicked him out. My sister-in-law met him through her son, took him in her house at 15 years old, took this kid as her own. We hired him. This child today is 26 years old, lives in Arizona, college. His wife's out there. They got a great house. He is like my son, and I'm so proud of this kid. It's probably the best thing, the best success for our family. But that enlightened me and encouraged me to hire more kids and try to mentor. Now, believe me, I have had, like I said, plenty of failures, but it never makes me want to quit trying. That's why I think it's an aspect I can bring into this office real well. Thank you.
My experience in dealing with the community in need and the people go back about 32 years within this city. About 32 years ago, when the police station was where the election commission is now, I was standing out on State Street talking to people about Jesus. And also dealing with individuals who were transient, some that were homeless, different things. The Julian Hotel was a frequent stop. I go over there and talk to individuals just as a regular course of doing business. Nobody told me to do anything. I went out and did it because I love people. And I made many friendships as a result of that experience. So 32 years ago is when it started. About 20 years I've been in ministry, in pastoral ministry here in Peoria. During the course of that time, I centered the church right in the heart of the community where the greatest need is. In 61605, over 20 years ago, we saw the need that's being talked about now. We saw the need and began to deal with the people even over 20 years ago, right here in the heart of the city. One of the things that we launched in 2003 and 4 that has now become Backpack Peoria, we started the Back to School giveaway. We were the first organization to start that. They called us after we were featured on News 25 to ask us, how did you guys do that? You know how we did it? We took the money out of our pocket and we put it on the table. We didn't go try to get packages and all that type of stuff. We served people, and I did that because of my experience in school and in college, not having any books, not having my supplies because I didn't have any money. And so I wanted to make sure to address that need, to make sure that children would not be in school without. So that's part of our service then. Now, currently, I'm an advocate in schools and different things within the community, and one of the things that I see is that our children are talented, but they need opportunity. I have encouraged this district to raise their coaching standards so that our children can participate in that $3 billion a year that's given out of athletic scholarships from coast to coast in this country. So thank you very much.
Well, what do I do? During the summer, for the last 6 years, I've been at the East Bluff Community Center. We have a basketball team. Actually, we have 8 teams. We have 120 kids that we provide service to. They come during the summer, the day of school's out, they're there registering, and then they're there until school begins in August. So I spend every Saturday during the summer at the East Bluff Community Center from 7 in the morning till noon. And I feed all of these kids. And just recently, I did a Christmas dinner at the East Bluff Community Center that was open to everyone on Christmas Day. Didn't matter whether you could afford it or you couldn't. It was a free event, a free meal. We had great volunteers. They all came, and everybody enjoyed themselves. And we had a great diversity in the room. I also am a steering committee chair for the Regional Neighborhood Network Conference. And that's a conference that is held every year by neighborhood groups. It is held in a different city, in a different state each year. This year we'll be in Evansville, Indiana. And out of that, going to all of those conferences and having at least 20 neighborhood people from the city of Peoria, along with city workers that attend that conference, we bring back a lot of things to the city of Peoria that are now being implemented here. The city ordinance is one of the things that we did, and now we have one of our guys, Jesse McGowan Jr., who's working on getting teen court into the schools. And so I do a lot in the city of Peoria, but I do it because I want to do it, not because I have to.
Well, like I said earlier, I was not unaware, but just until tonight, it made me start thinking about how important the Affordable Care Act is, especially for those individuals that doesn't have the capability of getting the prescriptions and the eyeglasses and the needs that they could possibly, once they lose that, then that would put more needs and pressure on the township office to provide that. And it's to the point where we need to make sure that all people that comes and asks for assistance, that they get the assistance. I don't want to turn them away. So it's to the point where if they lose their health care, then yes, that will put a burden on our township, especially on the budget. So I want to make a point that and I will make a promise that I will contact the legislators, the congressmen, and anybody that could to make sure that we work, if that doesn't get repealed, that we have something in place to be able to help those individuals. So, because it helps all of us. Because if they take that away, it's going to end up affecting us, because we're going to have to end up looking at alternatives to make sure that everybody is taken care of. So we want to make sure that, like I said before, that's the number one priority for me, is making the clients the top priority. So we want to make sure that their needs are met. And we're already struggling financially at the point where we don't need the burden of having even more people come to the township asking for assistance because of something like this.
Thank you.
Well, next week I'll be with our United States representative, so I will definitely talk to her. When I see our senators, one of them for sure I will see, and I will talk to him. As far, I told you at the beginning how I vote, the importance of this. It's very important, and the people that do need help with it will do some instruction to get the best affordable care they can get. Personally, I went through some hurdles to get it, and actually had to teach the person on the phone the right way to do it. So it's very important that this insurance stays in effect, and with some modifications that people are better used, so that they're not without or in need of health care.
Thank you.
Even though I didn't call someone on this particular item, at the same time this was going on, I was still busy in this community doing other things for people. At the same time, when this was going on, while someone else was making that phone call, I still was feeding people. At the same time, I still was helping people with employment. At the same time, there are other people that couldn't pay their Silco bills. There are people that are being evicted. Now, I didn't have a program, and I didn't have a $1.9 million budget, but I had my own program where I was helping people in this community to get through situations. So we as a community have to come together. There's somebody here that said they did call. Others did call. But at the same time that I didn't call, I still was very busy getting things done in the community. Still was very busy when others was doing other things. I remember when it wasn't important to people. I've been in this a long time, everybody. I've been in this for years when people didn't see it as important. When I had rock solid concrete contract with Caterpillar, we hired people that couldn't get a job. And basically you come to me, if you couldn't get a job, we would hire you. If you never had a job, we'd hire you. At the same time, when I was working with Bill Peoria, people that were disenfranchised, unemployed, and had almost no hope. While others was doing other things in the community, I was helping them become gainfully employed and teaching them a skill. So, I guess what I'm saying is, yeah, I didn't make that call, but at the same time I didn't make that call, I was very busy making a difference in this community.
Thank you. Next. Take it, sir.
The reason that you can know that I will advocate for ACA modification is because, number one, it is my profession, or at least has been up until this point. And that's been my story all along, even when it was in the development phase and it began to roll out through CMS. And I began to see some issues and problems as they arose. So modification has always been my story, and that hasn't changed from day one. But number two, it also fits in our new vision, 590, part 3 of our plan, which includes institutional and governmental advocacy for the poor. And in that, I outline about 7 or 8 things, including a mandatory moratorium for evictions in the month of December for individuals, because I believe evictions in December is certainly contrary to our values. When we're all celebrating family and celebrating love, and then we're kicking people out on the street, I think that's totally contrary. And we as a city need to do something about it. Township office can't do it, but we can sure ask our city council brothers to take some steps and do some things there. We also believe that this water situation, I believe one of our fellow candidates here talked about water is what's necessary. Right now, water is a monopoly. We need to advocate from the township office for the citizens so that there is more friendly water policy in this town. Also, there's other different things that I put out here, but we want to advocate for our citizens. And so that's the primary reason, because it's already in our mission, it's already in our vision, and it's already a goal and something that we want to accomplish for the citizens under the Burnett leadership of the Peoria Township. Thank you.
Thank you. Each of you now will have 1 minute to guide the audience. Any comments you'd like to summarize? Start with you, sir. 1 minute.
I believe strong leadership is what will bring Peoria to a U-turn from some of the things that are leaving, decisions that are leaving districts behind and elevating other districts, leaving citizens behind, and not giving them opportunities to grow. A little bit about me is that I work currently for Peoria Area Food Bank, where I am serving 5 counties. We serve over 1,000 families, say quarterly. And I'm in here because I have a real interest in politics, raised with leadership background. So that's going to display integrity. And as I look out in the audience, I see some of our deacons that, and fellow members of our church that all played a part in my development. So having said that, I won't go into anything else outside that. I've done that for 6 years and I will continue to service for our community and as mayor of this great community. Peoria has a lot of potential, and we have to highlight those potentials in order to be attractive. We have to look within ourselves and develop a will in our community from talent, untapped potential, so we will grow our communities, the inside, and export out. I think we also need to work on our I see that idea it's a great idea. So to have open conversations and relationships with all of our facilities, Peoria Public Schools, ICC, and utilizing their resources. But most of all, the citizens of Peoria are resources that I will look into, not only just serve, but to take the advice and our experience to guide our community to be what and meet the potential that we have, so we all can have a vested interest in how our city looks and the things that we achieve. So thank you. I hope we answer your questions tonight, address the issues, and thank you.
Thank you, each of you. The first question, and before you answer the question, the thing I'll ask each of the candidates, please be as specific in your answers as possible. Thank you. First question. What will be your top priority as mayor? Start with you, Ms. Arnes.
Well, I think the top priority for our community has to be our community. We can't be as specific as I can be as the mayor. This focus is not just on a specific spot. We need to look at this community as a whole and then zero in on what makes us stronger. So a lot of the things that around the city are the things that we need to continue to do. I personally, as I said, nobody's statement have that for our kids. Our most precious resource. We have to make sure that our kids all have an opportunity for a good education and be productive members of our community moving forward. And that's why we put as much emphasis as we do on scholarship opportunities for our kids through Peoria Promise, the relationships we have with Peoria Public Schools. As we continue to work with Peoria Public Schools to improve performance and really accelerate the information going into the community in terms of what positive things are happening in the district, that is going to bring a lot more people back to Peoria, and that's what I'm going to focus on.
So to make sure I understand, educational improvement is your primary focus.
Community.
Okay, next. Please go ahead.
Basically, my priorities, my first two priorities. As mayor, number one, I would, getting into the office, stop bad decisions. That has been part of our policy making for the past, I don't know, for 3 terms. Nothing against any artists. But, I don't want to be too mean on, of course I do want his job, right? So, okay, but nothing against, and not taking this personal or anything. Number one would be to stop the bad decisions that has made us where we are today. And number 2, begin working with number 1, Caterpillar Block, possibly as a working with developers in the past. I can do that. Number 2, start looking into neighborhood programs to provide crime, try to work on the crime. But basically, since I would be new to the office, I would bring a lot of new ideas and a lot of energy and focus on growing Peoria into the greatest city in Illinois with new business and job growth. Thank you.
My top priority for this community would most likely be the one that's most effective, and I think that is economic job development and growth. I think that will cover a lot of the issues that we're faced with as a community. It covers our crime rate, it covers our education, it covers skill training. So that would be most likely number 1. And having said that, I think there's also parallel correlation between the education and skill training, because as job growth is developed and education also has to develop. So when you have a company or new rising star coming from our community to invent something, develop a corporation, you also have to have employees that are able to maintain and help grow that company. So both of them have to grow at the same time. And that's pretty much why I would say economic development is the most important, because we have to develop also well for our city to be sustainable. And I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. There's a perception that the growth of Peoria is in the north or northwest area. What would be your plan to revitalize Peoria south of Memorial Drive? Please be as specific as you can. Start with it. Yes, Steve.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, well, this is my big focus. Basically, I feel like the inner city has been a dog. I've lived in 61602 for the past 15 years. So I have seen grocery stores for going further north or East Peoria. So I have to get into my car and go to East Peoria and grab a gallon of milk. Okay, I understand the blight of 61605 to this high because I understand that because of blight, because jobs We have lost jobs in our blighted areas. There are no opportunities in our blighted areas as well. Somehow that has been a forgotten part of our society. So what I intend to do about it is work with federal programs like the Hardest Hit Fund. This year program actually is a great Treasury Department, by the Treasury Department, and what it does is it helps to revitalize our homes, and it brings transportation. It brings investment into the area, and on top of that, it will bring job growth. It will bring businesses. So I really want to focus. My main focus, of course, is in our forgotten city, in our forgotten. Sometimes, you just can't put a curtain or a cover over blighted areas. You have to spend some money. Obviously, blight is caused by lack of investment and maintenance to the area. Thank you.
This issue is near to my heart. I grew up in this area, and I've seen how the area has declined in a lot of ways. But in the factory level, and that's pretty much the heart of our community in 605 zip code. So that would be one ideal, that if it's possible, that we can reopen that thing and make it company, where again that wealth will be generated from our community. So if that's possible, that would be the first thing. And also, with our own recipes, providing for local restaurants here, stores here. That's just the ideal that very basic answer that is going to cover, again, the overall answer need that's in 605 zip code. Most of all, I think what's needed is a higher standard in this area. I don't think we need to look around and see things that will say, hey, you can afford this, you can shop there, but don't give the means of saying, you can't buy this, you can't buy that, and the means to earn a living wage and support the family to have disposable income. So those are two ideas, not just one of them just popped in my mind about what we've been talking about, is making this a walkable city. So specifically in the 3 districts, I would say, walkable city as we develop constructions down there that will give people something visual to see. I believe that will give and inspire these communities to have a business in that building there. So I think those are some areas that we need to take a look at in 605.
Excuse me 1 minute there. Someone with a license plate MJ40 is blocking the used car in. They have to get back and report on this great event tonight. MJ40, I think, is the license plate. Thank you. Go ahead, Steve.
One step back to the previous answer, focus on education. Think about this. Everybody wants jobs. Everybody wants good jobs. Everybody wants more jobs. There's no jobs without education. Make sure we get these in the right order, okay? That's important. When we talk about the exodus of a large part of our population, especially from 61605 and areas in the southern part of our city, they started happening decades ago for a lot of reasons. One of the main reasons that they left was people had a concern about the quality of the education that their kids were going to get in these areas, and they moved farther north. And that continues to happen, and will continue to happen. So I come back again and say one of the important reasons that we continue to talk about quality education, good schools for all our kids, regardless of where they are, is because there's 2 things people are going to look at when they look at moving into the neighborhood or new area. One is the quality of the schools. They want strong schools that give you good education regardless of where it is. And the other one is safety. And they're connected like this. Because when the schools are weak and people start leaving, crime accelerates and crime picks up. So they're tied very closely. So as we continue to focus, as we have been in the last 6, 7, 8 years, more attention on South Town, on the southern part of Peoria, those are the things that are very important to us. My youngest, in 30 seconds, my youngest went to school right across the street. One of the early students that was able to go to Molesky Hinton. And I clearly see the difference in the education that the youngest child got compared to the other two. Quality education right here.
Next question. What are your thoughts on the 24/7 Wall Street article stating that Peoria is the worst place for black individuals? First, do you believe that statement is legitimate? If so, how do you propose to fix it? Yes, sir.
I think it's legit, and if it's not legit, then it should be an eye-opener. And it has been an eye-opener. If we start looking around and seeing these things, the decline of our city, I mean, it's not really hard. You can see a for sale sign or a lease sign. Those are jobs that's missing. Some of the growth that has happened over the past decade or two hasn't addressed the issues in these areas, specifically for the black community. We don't have that. Some may not have the means of transportation to reach some of the developed districts. So when we're not focused on creating the atmosphere for all of our citizens, then this is the type of look that Peoria is putting out there. And we don't need to have this look out there. It will benefit every single person, and every single person is contributing, productive. Like I said, it's going to still go. You can't question somebody's motive to do something wrong. It's not morally right to us, but they have the same concerns for their family, just like a working family does. And they're going to do whatever they can because of love and compassion. The lack of hope will keep somebody down, and then put the neck on somebody while they're down, because you haven't developed these areas. These are the projections that we're going to get for our city. And I believe we're much better than that. And that's why I'm running for mayor of this city. Because we need to address these issues that's going to affect everybody. And particularly, we need to start with the African American community and other minorities as well, without forgetting.
Thank you. Mayor, you can go next.
Well, the old saying is perception is reality. And if the perception in our community is that that article is accurate, then it's accurate. And from everywhere I've gone, that is the perception, that it's accurate. We can debate the metrics that they used to the best of our ability, since they won't tell us what those metrics were. And we can acknowledge that they used metro statistics to justify what they said about Peoria. But at the end of the day, I accept that this community feels like it's the worst place in the country for African Americans. And that's a hard one to swallow, I can tell you. It's not acceptable. We have been dedicating a lot of efforts in the community to try to address those things. And it's important to us as leaders to place even more emphasis on that. That's not a distinction that we want to know. That's not a distinction that we want to carry around as a badge of honor. And this council is going to continue to work on those things and continue to address those things to take us off that list, not just if it's a real number, but even if it's a perception on here. We need a stronger perception of this community as one, that we're working with each other to fix these things and to raise all of our votes.
Thank you.
Well, this article, actually, we were number 6 last year, went up to number 1 this year. Okay, so my point is that we have a reactive city hall, not a proactive city hall, which is confusing to me, because when you get to number 6, there should have been plans, there should have been a strategic vision to begin working within that area and giving African Americans or minorities jobs. Even City Hall, and it's actually on your website. Actually, NAACP did a great study about the City Hall, and they're hiring practices throughout the county. Apparently throughout the county and all, there's 40% minorities, and there are only 19% working at City Hall or in government positions. And I remember the interview very well on TV. And I understand, I mean, I know you were frustrated because I think that's what you remarked. But the thing is, we should all be given the same opportunities. It doesn't matter if we're minorities or not. Okay, so what happens then in the blighted area? Well, unfortunately, blight happens, so there's nothing we can do about that, especially when urban growth is more important to city policies. Okay, so you have to change your whole policy-making process and concentrate on the blight. And you have to prepare, you have to, number one, work with the federal government. You have to bring in jobs. You have to start investing in the area, investment, and give everyone a shot at making a life for themselves, rather than nothing like crime, you know, because if you have nothing to do, then you are going to go on the street. So, unfortunately, way of life.
Thank you.
Sorry, I got carried away.
Next question. Peoria is seen as being economically segregated. We have rich areas, middle-class areas, poor areas. And the PHA was trying to find a location to place the individuals from the housing authority. Every community that disagreed, no. Do you believe that subsidized affordable housing should be built in every district? I'll start with you, Mr. Mayor.
I do. I think that it's important for us to show that. I think that if you talk to the commissioners on the PHA, they will tell you that there were at least 2 members of the Peoria City Council that were supportive of having those larger discussions within our community. One of the things that HUD is really focused on now is not just having that mix of our in every area of our community, but they don't want the density. They don't want the Taft, they don't want the Warren, they don't want the Harrison. They want those to be spread throughout the community. And I think that that's important for our community. It reflects the whole city. We continue to we don't frankly have a lot outside of it. The zoning is approved for it, but we support, or I have been supportive of the PHA's efforts to find suitable locations, to have affordable locations throughout the city.
Definitely. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. You want to integrate every part of our society, regardless of, our income levels, and into a society to make a community that works for all of us. And I think I answered part of that question before, but it's a very important one, and I appreciate it. Again, that's about all I have to say about it, because I haven't really, I do know that it's pretty unfortunate that people in nicer areas would refuse any, working with any PHA housing or any of this. I think it's a shame. I think that our community should work with one another, because we're all in this together. So, we should just behave and start helping our neighbors.
I would say this is a good idea. I don't know how realistic it is, but it is a good idea. The idea of bringing our community together. We have to socialize with one another to get rid of some of these stigmas about how this person acts or how that person acts. It also will give a visual for someone in a lower standard, or I don't know how to put that, because I like to be on the same playing field no matter what your economic status is. So sometimes people need to see people, be around people that have some experience or growth, for the lack of words right now, so they can see and have an image of what to work for or work towards. But since this is one of those city budget has set some funds aside to be built in some areas to beautify it and give people options of buying homes or living in nice homes. We have a lot of problems with our residents in the 605 area road, in Owen, and East Club, where if we can put more funds into those things and get rid of some of these houses that have been demolished or need to be demolished or refurbished, that would be a good idea to get our money, our funds, city funds,